Welcome to part 2 of Recognizing and Coping with Conflict. I hope you've been enjoying our workshop so far. So during part 1 with Addison, you had the opportunity to explore why conflict is normal, ways that you typically respond to anger, and our physiological reactions to stressors. In this video, we're going to dive a little deeper into active anger management techniques and ways that we can utilize positive thinking strategies when faced with stressors, such as conflict. So we're just going to go ahead and just dive right in. Anger is a common emotion that everyone experiences. And there are some good examples here of ways that anger can be mismanaged, similar to what you guys saw in the video in part 1. So oftentimes, anger is expressed through non-helpful verbal responses, such as yelling, criticisms, and defensiveness. Whereas complaints tend to be focused on a specific event and the feelings associated with it, criticisms involve attacking a partner's character or personality and often include generalizations like, you always, you never, or why can't you ever? In turn, defensiveness can take the form of cross-complaining, where one person meets a partner's complaint or criticism with one of their own, basically ignoring what the partner said. So going back to the video in part 1, partner A comes to partner B and says, hey, I gave you 2 tasks to complete this evening, and you did not manage to get those done. Partner B then responds with, hey, I worked a 12-hour shift, I'm exhausted, I fell asleep, and I'm only human. Here, they are just volleyballing their opinions back and forth, and really nothing is getting resolved in this situation. Others express anger in passive ways through sarcasm, pouting, silence, or contemptuous comments. So kind of like the silent treatment. Contempt includes attacking a partner's sense of self and putting them down by using like name calling and insults. And this can be one of the most corrosive behaviors in a relationship. This is really one that you want to try to avoid. Other times, people suppress anger. This does not make it go away, and this can cause unresolved problems to build up. Suppressing anger can also lead to health problems, such as headaches, stomach aches, ulcers, and other illnesses. So going back to the example of the video in part 1, partner A approaches partner B and says, hey, I gave you 2 tasks to complete, and you didn't manage to get those done tonight. If partner B more often tended to suppress his anger, rather than responding the way he did in the video, he could instead almost swallow his pride in a sense in that situation and just respond with, yep, you're right, I could do better. And lastly, anger can also be expressed through physical actions. So although this can provide momentary relief, it really mistreats the person that we care about. These strategies do not help to manage conflict. In fact, they further escalate it. So what we're striving for is to manage our anger in more active and healthy ways. So let's take a moment to reflect on the ways that you're managing conflict. I'd like you to go ahead and locate the activity titled Anger Mismanagement in your couples workbook. Bear with me. It's going to look a little something like this. Once you've had that located, go ahead and spend a couple minutes filling this out individually. I'd like you to go ahead and pause the video while you're doing that, and then go ahead and hop back on when you're done. Welcome back. So for the participants who are taking this workshop individually, I wanted to highlight that this activity provides a great opportunity to start up an honest discussion with your partner about the behaviors that you both engage in when you're feeling angry, and how those behaviors could be a potential hindrance to your relationship later on down the road. We're going to introduce our lovely sensory jar again. So imagine we're in a conflict situation. Things are starting to get a little heated. Maybe we're starting to feel a little angry. Our heart rate could be increasing. We could be breathing a lot quicker than we normally do. Similar to this glass jar, our mind, our thoughts could be just swirling all over the place, almost foggy. You may not be feeling, you may not be thinking clearly, honestly, in these type of situations. So what do I need to do to stop this behavior and not react in this way when I'm experiencing a conflict? Well, one of the ways is you can stop and take a minute and let yourself calm down. As you can see, as the time passes by, everything starts to simmer down a little bit more. Everything isn't swirling as quickly as it was. The glass jar is starting to look a little bit more clear. So like with this glass jar, if we give ourselves the time to settle down, we can then return ourselves back to a calm state to then address the conflict. So understanding what's happening inside of our bodies can also help us know when we need to calm down before addressing those important issues. So I like to use the analogy of when you first learn to drive a car. One of the first things that you learn is where the brakes are. This is important because we need to know how to apply the brakes in order to avoid accidents, wrecks, hurting ourselves and others. So by learning to apply the brakes in a relationship, this is an example of a repair attempt. For all my How I Met Your Mother fans out there, you may remember a strategy that Lily and Marshall use when they're experiencing an argument. They utilize the code word pause when they're feeling heated or overwhelmed in the moment. This technique allows them to self-regulate and avoid pitfalls such as contempt and criticism. So applying the brakes is a stopping and soothing behavior that allows you to calm down. So I'd like to take a moment to do this. Healthy couples argue, and in some cases, just as much as unhealthy couples. The difference is how they deal with the conflict. In this mindful activity, you'll focus on disengaging from the negative feelings and focus on positive thoughts about your partner. You will also focus on the words or actions that you can change to make the situation better. So I'd like you to go ahead and find a nice quiet space, somewhere with minimal distractions preferably. Give you guys a few minutes to do that. All right, and once you've found that space, I'd like you to go ahead and find a comfortable seated position. Once you have found that, I would like you to start thinking back to a recent argument that you had with your partner, one that really upset you. I want you to recall how you were feeling and what you were thinking during that moment. Once you have that memory, I would like you to close your eyes and begin to disengage from the stressful feelings and thoughts related to that argument. We're going to take in a big, deep breath and exhale out. Resting your hands comfortably on your lap. Close your eyes. Allow any tension to release out of your face. Relax your forehead. Allow your eyes to be heavy and the jaw to become relaxed. Breathing in and breathing out. Shift your attention onto your breath. Don't be concerned about the length of each breath. Just focus on your breathing. Inhaling and exhaling. If your mind begins to wander, that is completely normal. Acknowledge those thoughts and let them pass just as easily as they came to you. And start to bring that focus back on your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. Now think of a memory that is full of joy or gratitude towards your partner. This memory should bring you positive emotional feelings. Hold on to that moment as you continue to focus on your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Breathing in and breathing out. Start to bring movement back to your fingers. Slowly start to wiggle those toes. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes slowly and become aware of your surroundings. So before we process this, let's see how this helped your heart. Go ahead and use one of the two methods shown on the screen, and I will lead us through 15 seconds. Go ahead and start. And stop. How are you feeling? I hope you're feeling a little bit more relaxed after that practice. Is your heart rate calmer compared to your last pulse check in the first video? I'm curious if you're able to think of any actions that you could change in your relationship during this mindfulness practice. The cool thing about this mindfulness practice is its versatility. This is something that you can take with you and utilize in all areas of your life. 3 deep belly breaths can really help to regulate our parasympathetic system when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, and it helps us return to a calm state. Becoming mindful of yourself and your body is the biggest tool that you can have when it comes to managing stress during conflict. Taking that time to slow down and focus on what we cherish about our partners will help us better cope with conflict in the future. Addison and I would like to thank you for taking the time to participate in this workshop. We encourage you to share with your partner what you've learned today and continue to utilize these strategies in your own life. If you've enjoyed this workshop, please feel free to look up other Elevate courses near you. Also, please consider taking our survey at the end. This can be found at our website and only takes a few minutes. This would help us out immensely. Congratulations, you are one step closer to making your relationship even more legendary.